I was looking at this on there. This is a complete set. Open this for me. No, like this.
10.
Alright, that's fine.
Yeah.
1, yeah.
66. Even 60?
Perfect.
Alright, brother.
Really appreciate it, man.
No problem, man. Thanks for coming out again.
Yeah, always. You guys gonna have. Hey everyone, welcome back to Bird Brain Gaming. Today is football day. I'm gonna open a brand new sealed box of 1991 Bowman Football cards. I got this box at a yard sale for $10. If you saw the footage at the beginning, that's the yard sale where I found it. This one is sealed though, so it's gonna be complete. We're gonna check out what's inside, pull out all the good player cards. This will be interesting. I'm excited to open this one for you guys, so let's see what's inside. All right, let's get this opened. I'm gonna try to breeze through this box quick because there are 561 cards. I'll pull out the good player cards. I don't want to drag this on forever because this will be a long video if I do. Brand new and in beautiful condition, these cards. Alright, let's start from the far left. Tim McGee, Lamar Rogers, Jerry Gray, Superstar rookie Steve Christie, Johnny Johnson, Superstar, Road to the Super Bowl divisional playoff. This is Super Bowl 25. League leaders Nick Lowry, Flipper Anderson. Divisional playoff. Jeff George, Superstar rookie. Barry Sanders, league leaders. That's a good card. Let's leave that up. Barry Sanders is a good one. Road to the Super Bowl, NFC Championship. Torrey Epps, rookie. Divisional playoff. Is that Bo Jackson? Looks like him. Yep. Rob Moore. Road to the Super Bowl, AFC playoffs. Super Bowl 25. Mark Carrier, rookie. Clarence Verdon, league leaders. Jerry Rice, league leaders. That's cool. Jerry Rice is one of my favorites. Let's leave that up. Thurman Thomas. Big name right there. League leader. These cards are minty fresh. Randall Cunningham. Another big name. That's cool. I remember watching him. He's a good one. So I'm just getting back into sports cards after a long hiatus of many years. It's good to be back in it, but my memory needs to be refreshed. Road to the Super Bowl, NFC playoffs. Rookie, Keith Sims. Mike Horan, league leader. AFC Championship. Eric Green, rookie. Warren Moon, that's a big name right there. For the Oilers. League leader, that is cool. That's a good player right there. Gotta sleeve up the Warren Moons. That's cool. NFC playoffs. Derek Thomas, league leaders. AFC playoffs. If I skip any big name cards, it's because I'm probably not familiar with all the names. So just leave a comment down below if there are any I should sleeve up. Rookie Ben Smith. That one rings a bell. Like I said, just leave a comment of any big names and just help me refresh my memory. Divisional playoffs. Emmitt Smith. That's a big name, I remember. Wow, these cards are so minty, fresh, and clean. Look at this. That is awesome. Rookie superstar Emmitt Smith. Mark Carrier, league leader for the Bears. Richmond Webb. All right, let me pull out some more cards. Brian Noble. Darryl Talley. Mike Pritchard. Buford McGee. Steve Smith. Tom Rothman. Seth Joyner. Courtney Hall. Chris Warren. Derek Lavelle. Cody Carlson. Jim Juriga. Leonard Marshall. That name rings a bell. Jerome Brown. Darryl Pollard. Greg Cragen. Mike Munchak. Mike Bellamy. That rings a bell, that name. Lionel Washington, another familiar name. Melvin Bratton. Chris Zorick. Pierce Holt. Johnny Needs. Henry Allard. Christian Okoye. Chris Spielman. Keith Millard. Ron Stark. Barry Word. Jeff Yeager. Ron Morris. Kevin Ross. Scott Davis. Freeman McNeil. Andre Ware. Warren Moon again. Let me sleeve this one up. This is the regular card of Warren Moon. Awesome. Good player right there. Al Smith. Jim Arnold. Scott Fulhage. Alright, let me take out some more cards. Joe Nash. Daniel Stubbs. Cedric Mack. Herman Moore. I'm surprised they didn't show the team logo somewhere in the front like all other cards did. Probably wasn't officially licensed, maybe. Lee Williams. Roger Ruzek. Jeff Campbell. Darryl Lewis. Arthur Cox, Keith McKellar, Lorenzo White, Tom Hodson, Cornelius Bennett, that name rings a bell, Mike Dumas, Craig Lloyd, Clyde Simmons, Mitchell Price, Frank Stamps, Leslie O'Neal, Ben Smith, that name rings a bell. Like, I'm getting vague memories of a lot of these names. I just took too long of a break on sports cards. Sean Jones, Terry Wooden, Jeff George, that name rings a bell. J.B. Brown, Donald Evans, Nate Newton, Mike Merriweather, Kevin Green, Tunic Ilkin, Keith Sims, Lewis Sharp, Terrence Mathis, Brian Blades, Jay Noviskek, Anthony Toney, Jerry Ball, Leroy Butler, that sounds familiar, Mark Duper, Neil Anderson, Billy Joe Tolliver, Stan Thomas, Farrell Edmonds, Kevin Mack, Sean Landetta, Mark Murphy, Mark Carrier, Ernie Jones, Jackie Slater, Nate Lewis, Jeff Wright, Bruce Matthews, Henry Thomas, Willie Galt, Reggie Singletary, Nick Bell, Ray Childress, Tony Siragusa, Keith Byers, Ethan Horton, Andre Reed, Pete Stoynovic, John Offerdahl, Johnny Bailey, Ron Holmes, James Washington, Charles Haley, Brad Muster, Jeff Bostick, Rod Woodson, James Francis, Herschel Walker, that's a good name right there. That one I remember. Sleeve that one up. Gotta sleeve up Herschel. There you go, that's a nice one right there. Let's see the back. Alright, if you want to read any of this, just pause it. It'll give you as much time as you need to read. Steve Young, another one I gotta sleeve up. I mean, he's no Joe Montana, but he was pretty good. Don Mosbar, Randall Cunningham, Tony Stargell, Reggie Cobb, John Williams, and Mark Rapien. Let me take out some more cards. Darian Connor, David Johnson, Reuben Davis, Rodney Hampton, Phil Simms. That's a pretty good name. Let me sleeve him up. Bob Cratch, Jay Hilgenberg, Alexander Wright, Stan Humphreys, Shane Conlon, Leo Goas, Richard Dent, Brett Perryman, Wayne Haddix, Eric Davis, Donald Wolford, Hassan Jones, Gary Lewis, Frank Cornish, Wes Hopkins, Morton Anderson, Eric Howard, Eric Martin. That name sounds familiar. John Johnson, Calvin Martin, Jim Covert, Danny Noonan, John Hand, Thomas Everett, Barry Sanders. There's his regular card. Why am I having a hard time sleeving this up? There you go. Alright. It's a cool Barry Sanders card right there. So another legend. Look at that beauty. Michael Kofer, Kent Hull, Andre Collins, Percy Snow, Oliver Barnett, Mark Carrier, Craig Rakowski, Ron Hall, Mike Singletary, Pat Swilling, Eric Hill, Tim McDonald, Tim Grunhard, Ed King, Carnell Lake, Floyd Dixon, Bruce Pickens, Derek Fenner, Mark Bortz, Robert Macy, Ray Agnew, Ernest Givens, Bert Grossman, Ken Willis, Mike Fox, Ron Cox, Johnny Holland, David Griggs, Vince Buck, Mike Johnson, Eric Swan, Simon Fletcher, Tim Worley, and Junior Seau. I remember Junior Seau, I heard of him. Let me sleeve him up. From the Chargers. That's cool. Alright, let me take out some more cards. Got a whole bunch of cards left. Brett Maxey, Damone Johnson, Jeff Harrod, Clay Matthews, Rick Donnelly, Deion Sanders. That's a nice hit right there. Another legend. I used to watch a lot of his games. That dude has some serious moves. That's a nice one right there. Falcons, yep. That's cool. Alright, let's keep going. Scott Steven, Mike Wilker, Will Wolford, John Elway. Another nice hit right there. Legendary quarterback. Yeah, Denver Broncos, John Elway. These cards are in really good shape. The centering looks a little bit off, like it's shifted to the right slightly. The border on the left, the white, is a little bit wider. It's a shame. But still good card. Johnny Johnson, Lewis Oliver, Curtis Duncan, Robert Clark, Peter Tom Willis, Gary Reasons, James Brooks, Bruce Armstrong, Chris Martin, Tim Green, Don Majowski, Mike Sherrod, Andre Reason, Cleveland Gary, Lewis Billups, Ray Bentley, Andre Waters, Al Toon. Al Toon. Why does this name sound familiar? This name sounds familiar. Should I sleeve up Altoon? Sounds familiar. I gotta double check some of these. Sean Collins, Bobby Humphrey, Stan Brock, Norm Johnson, Steve Wisniewski, Chris Hinton, Leon White, Tim Harris, Steve Christie, Irv Pankey, Anthony Pleasant, Al Edwards, Chip Banks, Tom Newberry, Andy Heck, Dennis Smith, Nate Odoms, Dexter Carter, Frank Minifield, Jim Everett, Bobby Brister, Rich Gannon, Bubba McDowell, Eric Allen, Aaron Wallace, Trace Armstrong, Jerry Rutland, Maurice Carthon, Tony Woods, Michael Carter, Anthony Munoz, Michael Haynes, Guy McIntyre, Mike Rozier, Steve Walsh, sounds familiar, Marv Cook, Vaughn Johnson, Butch Roll, Ricky Sanders, Eddie Anderson, Leonard Smith, Cortez Kennedy, Mark Lee, Dennis Bird, and Jim Jensen. Alright, let me take out some more cards. What I'm going to do is, after I'm done with this video, I'm just going to sort these out by teams, because there are quite a lot in here. Alright, let's see what else is in here. Another Reggie White, Vance Johnson, Wade Wilson, Troy Aikman. I remember him. Dallas Cowboys, Troy Aikman. Cowboys were kicking butt in the 90s. Darrell Thompson, Alvin Wright, Sterling Sharp, Mike Kofer, Jim Sweeney, Ruben Mays, Thurman Thomas. Let me sleeve that one up. Thurman Thomas. I remember the Buffalo Bills winning a lot, or going in the Super Bowl in the early 90s. I was a young lad then, but I still remember a little bit. Alton Montgomery, Chris Calloway, Brent Jones, Anthony Bell, Gil Bird, Ken Harvey, Chris Jake, James Campton, Gary Plummer, Dan Owens, Rob Moore, Clarence Verdon, Brent Williams, Dean Bisucci, Jeff Hostetler, Richmond Webb, Gary Clark, Carl Lee, Jesse Sapalu, Merrill Hodge, Dan Marino. Another big name right there. Gotta sleeve up Dan Marino. That's a legend right there. Another one. That's cool. I think this is my very first and only Dan Marino card. A lot of these are my first. I mostly have baseball cards, so I'm getting more into football and basketball. It's good to pull some legend cards like that. Alright, let's keep going. Pat Terrell, Neil Smith, Jesse Hester, Boomer Esiason, that's another name I remember. Him and Joe Montana, I remember being the tops for the AFC and NFC back in the day. I believe in 90, around there, in the early 90s. That's cool. Cincinnati Bengals. Awesome right there. Alright, let's keep going. Kevin Butler, John Taylor, Stephen Braggs, Dan Salamua, Bernd Brostek, and the legend right there. One of my favorites of all time. Watching him and Jerry Rice, man, those were the days. Even if you're not a 49ers fan, they were doing stuff that were unbelievable at the time. Chris Dolman, Darrell Henley, Jesse Tuggle, Marcus Allen, Joe Prokop, Chris Miller, that sounds familiar, that name, Steve Jordan, Reggie Robbie, Dermonte Dawson. I'm glad these aren't hockey cards because I'd be having a hard time pronouncing a lot of names. Nick Lowry, Kyle Clifton, Michael Brooks, Flipper Anderson, that name rings a bell, Steve Brossard, Ken Norton, Keith DeLong, Greg McMurtry, Eric McMillan, Jim Jeffcoat, James Lofton, Rich Camilleri, Jamie Mueller, Jim Harbaugh, Calvin Williams, Greg Jackson, Ray Donaldson, Paul Oruber, Rob Thomas, Gary Anderson, Keith Jackson, Pepper Johnson, Marcus Koch, James Thornton, Steve DeBerg. Alright, let me take out some more cards. If you're enjoying this throwback football card, smash that like button. Subscribe to Birdbrain Gaming. Show some love. I'll try to do more sports cards. I'm only going to do sports cards that I find in yard sales because that's what I mainly do on this channel. I go to yard sales. I'll just look for nostalgic things. And I'm getting back into sports cards. Or I'll go to one of my throwback sports cards shops and I'll buy some packs and open them up. Reggie Langhorne, Aaron Craver, Sammy Smith, William White, Jay Schroeder, Blair Thomas, that name really sounds familiar, Jesse Campbell, Sam Mills, Wendell Davis, Brian Brennan, Louis Lips, Renaldo Turnbull, Randall Hill, Tony Page, Charles Mann, Jim Whaler, Jarvis Williams. There's my boy Jerry Rice right there. This card looks pretty good. The centering looks slightly off though. This time it looks like it's to the left slightly. The white border on this side is slightly thicker than this side. Here's one of my favorite receivers right here. That's so awesome. Alright, Bruce Smith, Stephen Baker, Bill Lewis, Shannon Sharp. I see him a lot on ESPN. I'll show him a little bit of love. I'll just put him in a little sleeve here. That's cool. Shannon Sharp. Alright, Anthony Thompson, Eric Green, Mark Jackson, David Wyman, Jason Stravosky, Audrey McMillan, Jesse Anderson, Kevin Murphy, Mark Clayton, David Craig, Eric Turner, Al Noga, Chris Singleton, Ronnie Lippett, Jack Del Rio, Pat Beach, John Alt, Keith Taylor, Bruce Hill, Pat Leahy, Anthony Dilweg, Travis McNeil, Bill Fralick, Marvin Fernandez, Anthony Carter, Lawrence Taylor, I remember him, LT. Super Bowl champ here. I remember my dad watching the Giants games when I was a kid in the Super Bowl, so I recognize his name. Harry Hamilton, Howie Long, that's cool. Howie Long. Another from ESPN. Jim Lachey, Tony Jones, James Williams. Alright, let me get some more cards up. Alright, we got Benny Blades, Vince Clark, Mark Robinson, Tim Rosenbach, Harold Green, that name rings a bell, Eric Moten, Bill Brooks, Darryl Green, Ed West, Don Warren, Blaze Bryant, Walter Reeves, Jeff Cross, Darryl Grant. Got a checklist. Todd Marinovic, Fred Barnett, Dave Meggett, Ricky Waters, Rodney Peete, that name rings a bell, Carl Mecklenburg, Eric Bieniemy, Stefan Page, Rodney Holman, Drew Hill, Brownie Nagel, Kevin O'Brien, David Fulcher, Robert Brown, Gary Anderson, Frank Reich, Anthony Miller, Toy Cook, Wilbur Marshall, Mark Ingram, Ricky Prohl, Steve Atwater, Isaac Holt, John Stevens, Ernest Biner, Ricky Nettle, Tony Mandrick, Alvin Walton, Jeff Quarry, Michael Jones, Ronnie Harmon, Mark Pryor, Joe Hildenberg, Wesley Carroll, Marion Butts, Jimmy Jones, sounds familiar, Don Griffin, Kurt Govaya, Kurt Loudermilk, Marvin Allen, Gerald Williams, Wyman Henderson, Greg Montgomery, Dan McGuire, Jeff Lageman, Torrey Epps, Randall McDaniel, Todd McNair, Bill Romanowski, Eddie Brown, Mark Collins, David Grant, Byron Evans, Eugene Robinson, David Zott, Tommy Kane, Andre Tippett, Lawrence Dorsey, Vinny Testaverde, that's a good one, Carl Zander, and John Carney. Let me sleeve up this Vinny Testaverde. Alright, we got one more little stack of cards and we're gonna wrap this up. Alright, that's it. There's no more cards after this. Tommy Barnhart, Eugene Daniel, got another checklist. Lomas Brown, Joey Browner, Jeff Bryant, Dwayne Bickett, Dalton Hilliard, Jonathan Hayes, Hartley Dykes, Mike Crow, Eric Metcalf, Mike Saxon, Ricky Reynolds, Reggie Johnson, Jumbo Elliott, Richard Johnson, Kelvin Pritchett, Leroy Horde, Broderick Thomas, Joe Valerio, Aaron Cox, Jared Bunch, Carl Banks, Steve Tasker, Checklist, Alvin Harper, Albert Lewis, Ricky Jackson, Haywood Jeffries, Pat Harlow, Acera Tualo, Maurice Hurst, Keith McCants, Clarence K, Checklist, James Hasty, Ickey Woods. Ickey Woods rings a bell. Art Monk, another one that rings a bell. I gotta double check these because I got a feeling one of these are big names. I'll check these a little later. Freddie Joe Nunn, Mel Gray, Kevin Fagan, Harvey Williams, Bo Jackson. That one I remember. Playing for the Chicago White Sox. Baseball. And switching to Oakland. Vincent, what's his name? Vincent Jackson? I forgot his full name. Something like that. Good to see Bo Jackson. Not many football, baseball player combos other than, I think, Deion Sanders. He played for Atlanta Braves. And the Cowboys. And then we got Bo Jackson here. Played for, I believe, the White Sox and the Raiders. Another big name right here. Emmitt Smith. Gotta sleeve him up. This dude was a monster on the field, I remember. Sleeve him up. Alright. That's cool. Emmitt Smith. Okay, let's keep going. We're almost done. David Little. Albert Bentley. Perry Kemp. Rob Burnett. Ricky Irvins, Russell Maryland, Sean Gale, Chip Lowmiller, John Kidd, Thane Gash, Derek Thomas, this one rings a bell, this name, Todd Light, Mark Boyer, Leon Seals, Johnny Rembert, Ernie Mills, Brad Baxter, Michael Irvin, Gary Zimmerman, and Greg Townsend to wrap it up. Alright. So let's go over the good cards, the notable cards. We got league leaders Jerry Rice, Barry Sanders, league leaders. We have Emmitt Smith, Bo Jackson, Vinny Testaverde, Howie Long, Lawrence Taylor, Shannon Sharp, Thurman Thomas, league leaders, Jerry Rice, Joe Montana, Boomer Esiason, Dan Marino, Thurman Thomas, Troy Aikman, John Elway, Deion Sanders, Junior Seau, another Barry Sanders, the regular card, Phil Simms, Steve Young, Herschel Walker, Warren Moon, Emmitt Smith, rookie superstar, league leaders Warren Moon, and Randall Cunningham, league leaders. Alright, if you guys enjoyed this content, smash that like button. If you haven't already, hit the bell notification for alerts on future videos. Leave a comment down below. Feel free to school me in on any cards, good players that I missed, that I could sleeve up. And I'll see you all next time on Bird Brain Gaming. Later, everyone.
Special forces are in full flight. We're coming by air and on the ground. Monday Night Football's taking over the town. We gotta get ready. We gotta get right. It's gonna be a battle in the NFL tonight. So get ready. I mean, get ready. Are you ready for some football? A Monday night invasion? Yeah, this is rockin' with a special alert for the nation. Here come the hits, the bangs, the blocks, and the spikes. Cause all my rowdy friends drop in on Monday night time. Let it fly, boy. Trenches, the fans in the stands. Sounds like thunder when they snap the ball. The bat blasts through a hole in the wall. Receivers rocket on down the line. The defense covers its pressure time. The guys with cannons, the way they throw. ABC's got the most explosive show. Are you ready for the football? A Monday night party? Yes, sir, this is Hank, and my mission is to get this whole thing started. Get those helmets crashing, the crowd is psyched, cause all my rowdy friends are back for Monday night.